Hi and welcome to I'll tell you what, the microphone's a bit high there, isn't it? Welcome to the Monday Live, and it's a bit of a busy time at the moment, so there's quite a few changes to the calendar as we come into Easter, because I've got both a holiday and an event and some bank holidays. So, and then of course I've just come back from Cornwall where we had a great time. The weather wasn't perfect, but we had a great time. I'm off to Tunisia next week, where the weather is destined to be much better, mid-20s, which sounds good. And then my family coming out to join me out there over the Easter period. Yeah, so I'm actually, I think, out there for 2.5 weeks. So what does that mean? Well, we've got a normal week this week-ish. Our Friday live is on Thursday morning. That's because I'm flying out on Friday. So we've got this Monday, as in today, now, on defence, of course. We've got a Wednesday Teams, and then we have the Friday live on the Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. Okay, so that's the major change. After that, I've recorded a Monday and a Wednesday for the week after, and then we have a couple of bank holidays, of course, and I then have an Easter holiday. So there's a bit of a break, so look out for that, and we'll try to get back to normal after that. We're feeling a little bit stressed because of trying to get everything done before that, but hopefully we'll also be able to enjoy a bit of sunshine, which I think we could all do with now. There's still plenty of room in Tunisia. If you want to come along, you would be welcome. So we are finishing counting defence over the next 2 weeks. Hard hands, obviously they are hard hands, but we're just exploring what is possible. And on the finals, we're looking at responding to overcalls. We've gone quite a long way down the route. We'll look at a couple of other things where we might see a bid where we show support in a different way. So we've been looking at when we haven't got support and just getting an idea of what we think all those bid means. And then we're going to look at a couple of other bids as well. So what else is there? I think the Teams is on special offer this week. So those non-members, you can get that half price. So do look at that. Thanks for your feedback on the recording I did last week. I know it's not perfect, and it wasn't. I played actually. I didn't do very well at the hands. It's definitely not normal bridge. I completely agree with some of you there. I think some of you enjoyed it, which is I'm glad, but definitely not normal bridge. I do recommend having a go at it, playing it yourself, because you can have some fun there. I mean, obviously there's some very strange results often because people can play it as many times as they want, and so can do rather well at it. What else have we got? Well, I mean, in England we've got a new one. In the UK, the Ardington. So a number of you may have been to that before. That's another gourmet event. Very lovely food down in the Ardington in Worthing. So look out for that. Okay. That's let me just see. I'm going to look it up. It doesn't. Yes, September. That is in September. So if you fancy that, do join us for that. And of course we've got plenty of others that, I mean, I am at Denham later in the year, but we've got at Denham and Blunsdon there. We've got Dennis and Pearl doing a Blunsdon event in May. I know a number of you like that hotel, so look out for that one as well. So we generally got our usual things. You can see it all on the website. I'll mention the cruises and things a bit later. What I want to do is remember what I'm doing. So I think the 5-level decision that came from last Friday, which was recorded, of course, let's just remind ourselves. So this is the cliffhanger situation. So I need to get Q+ up on the screen. And the auction here went 3 no trumps, 4 hearts, I think, from North, and it's your bid. So 3 no trumps from West, 4 hearts, and it's your bid. So have a little think about that. 3 no trumps is what you expected to be, I hope, which is the gambling 3 no trumps. Notice that east, west are non-vulnerable, north, south vulnerable there. East, west non-vulnerable, so that's us. We are non-vulnerable against vulnerable opponents. So it's an interesting one, this one, I think. We're going to come back to it after the seminar. You know, and I think certainly, I think two answers are definitely valid there, I think, probably. So we shall see. As long as you are understanding what the board is about, and that's often the case on these, is understanding what your options are. Okay. So we're looking at counting defence. That's what we are looking at here. And it's a hard topic. I mean, let's just remind ourselves what it's all about. The idea is that we're going to use count signals, and we use them so that we know when to play our high cards. We looked at those on the first couple of days and very much focus on them in the seminar, because for me that's the most important thing, because it's counting one suit is within all of our range, if that makes sense. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to count each suit accurately. So one suit, counting the whole hand, which we're looking at today and we looked at last week, is very tricky. Okay. Of course, roughing, important, high lows, etc. And the counting of declarer's hands. So that's what we're looking at here. Now, today we're even going to take it, we're going to look at counting using the bids, using the signals, but we're also then going to be looking at the points as well. And by the time you've added them all up and done it all, it's tough going. Okay. So when do you use count signals? A quick reminder is the major time you use them is when declarer leads. So assuming you don't have to play a high card, which is most of the time, you play a high-low to show an even number, low-high, or the lowest card first, as it were, to show an odd number. Really important, okay? Just a reminder of that then. High-low suggests even, low-high equals odd. Notice it's low, the lowest card. If you do not play your lowest card when following suit, I expect you to have an even number of cards. If you do play your lowest card, I expect you to have an odd number. Remember, this is when you are following suit to dummy or declarer's lead. Okay, so quick reminder, as we've said each week, if I'm following suit with the 8 and 2 of diamonds, I play the 8 first. If I'm following suit with the clubs, I play my very lowest club. And if I'm following suit with hearts, I don't mind whether you play the 7 or the 6. I wouldn't play the 9, simply because that 9 may well be useful. Okay. Okay. So, here we are. This is our hand for this week. And let's have a little look at it. And it's quite interesting in the sense of the bidding as well, actually, here, because it goes 1 no trump from south here. Okay. And north has a 13 count flat. And with the spread of honours, I think probably 3 no trumps is best here. Partially because you don't know whether you want to play in hearts if partner shows hearts. And the other aspect is it does give quite a bit of information away. And that's what we're going to see here. North chooses to bid Stamen here. Okay. 2 diamonds, 3 no trumps. Okay. I mean, if North has made the decision he wants to play in hearts, if they find a fit, that's fine. But I would feel, I mean, if I had some empty suits there, so maybe I had ace queen to 4 hearts, a 4-3-3-3 hand with maybe 3 small clubs and maybe jack to 3 diamonds, something like that, then I'm happy to pursue the major suit fit here. But with the spite of honours here, I think it's reasonable just to bid 3 no trumps. However, we are going to use the information, so let's put it into our memory banks, because of course when you're trying to count a hand, you've got to use all the time you've got in a way. So as they're bidding, the first thing that goes into our head is this. We say to ourselves that we're expecting South to have a balanced hand because he's open 1 no trump, 12 to 14 points. and fewer than 4 hearts and fewer than 4 spades. He has bid 2 diamonds to Stayman. So that's starting to give us a picture. I mean, we can, there's a few things you can say to yourself. Okay, could be 5-3-3-2 with a 5-card minor. Could be 4-3-3-3. Could be 4-4-3-2 in the minors, 4-4 in the minors. So these are things that we're bearing in mind in our head. Okay, that isn't easy already in a way, but if you're used to the hand shapes and you know that Declara has fewer than 3 and fewer than 3 in 2 suits, sorry, fewer than 4 and fewer than 4 in 2 suits, you're obviously suggesting to yourself that he's probably longer in the other suits and therefore could be 4-4, could be 5-3, etc., etc. So, once you have that information, as time goes by, you might be able to refine it. Okay, so let's have a look. Your partner leads the Queen of Diamonds. Dummy plays small. And I think our first tricky decision comes at trick 1 here, to be honest. And this is why live bridge, in a sense, is... excuse me. Live bridges tends to be, you know, it's more a real game than online bridge, because online bridge maybe you feel you've got a bit of time. Here, playing live, it's a really tricky decision. I mean, you could decide to play low, but you'd have to do it really, really smoothly, because if you think about it at all and then play low, clearly Declara was thinking, East's got the ace. And the problem with playing low on the first trick is that if Declara gets it right and plays low on the second one, you have blocked the suit, and it's unlikely that your partner's length in diamonds, if he's got it, is going to be worth as much as you'd like it to be. Bear in mind, your partner could have Queen Jack 10 to 5 diamonds here. Okay, Declara could just have 3. In which case, playing the ace and hopefully establishing his suit looks right. I think a lot of the time here, we're going to expect our partner to have another high card. You know, we're placing partner the Queen Jack, you know. And also, I think Declara's going to get this right most of the time. Why might Declara not get it right? Well, it is possible that West has led from the Ace Queen Jack or Ace Queen Jack 10. So West might lead the Queen and lead the Jack, and if Declara ducks the second round, he's going to look really silly if West does indeed have Ace Queen Jack 10. But I think most of the time Declara is going to play small twice. So I think your best bet here is to play the ace and lead the suit back. It's going to look really... It's not going to be brilliant if partner's just got Queen Jack 9. So we'll see. We don't know yet. Anyway, we force the King of Diamonds. Okay, Declara plays the 8 of spades. What would you do here? Well, Declara's not finessing in spades here, so you might think it's very strange for me to play the 7 here rather than the 9. But I don't want to confuse the issue. I want to make sure that my partner knows I've got an even number of spades. So I am going to give a count signal. I feel no reason to play the 9 on the 8 because I do not believe that North is going to be running the 8. North is going to be, Declara is going to be putting a higher one on that spade. Does that make sense? So I will play the 7 of spades because I'm just giving a count signal. And no surprise, South does indeed play a high one. Okay, our partner wins that. Now we discover whether our play in diamonds is right. Notice that it's possible that partner's got 3 more diamond tricks here. Okay, so he leads the Jack of Diamonds. Okay, what are you doing now? So there's a lot of thinking going on here. This is what's so hard about defence. Well, the first things we said to ourselves was that South has fewer than 4 spades. In which case, the King and Jack of spades are winners. We do not need our spades. Does that make sense? So the first things first, we can discard spades. So let's do that nice and easily. So there goes the 3 of spades. And the good news is partner has another diamond winner. Dummy discards. And we can throw another spade, which is easy enough. Okay. So what I want us to do now is readjust. So let's go back to our big screen, as it were. So let's go back here. We said we were counting the hand. Fewer than 4 hearts, fewer than 4 spades. We now know that both South and West started with 4 diamonds each. So we're getting a closer picture of de Clara's hand. What shape could he be? Well, 4-3-3-3, obviously with 4 diamonds, but also 4-4-3-2 is a big thought. Okay, so that's kind of, I'm putting them in specific order there then. So it could be 3-3-4-3, 2-3-4-4, 3-2-4-4. Now, of course, there are times when de Clara will have opened 2-2-4-5 hands, but these are less likely, and I'm not sure why he'd be playing on spades and not clubs if he had 5 clubs here. So I'm thinking this is the most obvious shape. So why are we thinking about this? Well, I want to know how important my clubs are on a hand like this, and it's really, really important because you often have discards to make here. Now, if you place de Clara with just 3 clubs on this hand, you do not need any of your clubs. But if you place de Clara with 4 clubs, you need all of your clubs, possibly. Bear in mind, well, we'll see, but if de Clara's got the ace, king, jack of clubs, I don't think de Clara's going to have much trouble here. Okay, so partner returns a spade. What does that mean? Why has partner played the 2 of spades there? Now, this is where it gets tricky. When you're late in a hand and you can see all the honours, essentially, I think the easiest question here to ask yourself is, what would you expect partner to have led in spades if he had had 2 spades left in his hand? And I think that's the crucial thing here. If your partner had had, I don't know, the 6 and the 2 of spades, what would you have expected him to lead? Surely you'd expect him to lead the higher of the 2 back. Okay, so when you can see, when it's a safe exit card, as it were, your partner is going to lead in a helpful way for you, i.e. giving you sort of count in the suit. So that is tricky. But clearly this, as John has described it, is a safe exit. There's king, jack of spades there. So I think if partner had had 2 spades left, he'd play high-low. So I think that partner has 3 spades, or started with 4. That's tricky now because you've got to remember, but the idea is we think that the suit is 4. We had 4, 3 in dummy. De Clara does have just 2. So we're starting to get the full picture. Because the problem we have is the jack of spades is led next. Okay, and you've got that decision to make. So it is imperative that we work out whether de Clara has 3 clubs or 4 clubs. Okay, now notice as well, let's do the full thing. Okay, now I did say there was a health warning here because we are, and also I am trying to do it piecemeal, so bear that in mind. In a way, a lot of this thinking should be done at trick 1. So we've got to count the hand. We've placed de Clara with just 2 cards, 2 spades, so I would feel that we would expect the shape to be 2, 3, 4, 4. So we have counted South's hand, so I'm expecting 4 clubs. We've now got to count the points, I'm afraid. And again, I mean, this is really taking us. So if we go back to the start, essentially, one of the things you need to get into the habit of doing is counting points. So you can see 13 in dummy, 7 in your hand, that's 20. We've also seen 7 in our partner's hand, the queen, jack of diamonds and the ace of spades. So that only actually leaves 13 points. And given that South has opened 1 no trump, partner can only have 1 more point. So we know de Clara has the ace, king and the king of hearts. Now, if de Clara has the ace, king, jack of clubs, he's got the rest of the tricks. Okay, so there's nothing that we can do about that. So there's only one. We need partner to hold the jack of clubs, otherwise declarer has them. So the only other card we can hope that our partner has, well, have a look. Okay, so if declarer, remember the jack of spades is made. Okay, if declarer has the ace, king, jack of clubs to 4, remember we know he's got 4, he has the rest of the tricks because he's got the king of hearts as well. Okay, so our only hope here is, well, we need partner to have the jack of clubs, otherwise declarer's cold anyway, doesn't matter what we discard. We also need to keep our clubs, so we need our partner to have the 10 of hearts. So we need our partner to have 2 cards, well that's reasonable. Remember, if declarer has the jack of clubs, he has the rest of the tricks. 4 club tricks and the ace, king of hearts. Okay, so that's the end of that. So, therefore, we have to hope West has the jack of clubs. So, let's assume he does. But then we still need to keep our clubs, and that's the crucial thing here. So we are going to discard the 2 of hearts. Okay. Now that takes a lot of work. And you're going to ask me, is it worth it? Well, it is a lovely feeling. I mean, we do this sometimes on the Wednesday evenings. And now I don't always get it right, but I try to talk you through why I do a particular thing. And sometimes we do precisely predict what is going on. And so here, our precision, I hope, is going to get us to throw the 2 of hearts there. Okay, so here is the position at the end of the hand. Okay, declarer has the king of hearts there, as we expected, and the ace, king of clubs. The other high card he had was the queen of spades, as we'll see when we look at the full hand. When he leads the jack of spades, he's going to throw a heart. He's got a safe heart himself. The South is throwing a heart. And he's cleverly disguising his clubs. That's what you do. It's a clever tactic on hands like this, where you disguise your strong clubs to make an opponent think, well, I don't need 4 to the 10. Why would I need them? But as you can see here, if you keep your clubs, you will win the last trick. So the jack of spades was in it. We throw the 2. Declarer throws 1. But now there's nowhere for declarer to go. He can play the ace and king off, but our partner has the 10 of hearts. Notice also, declarer could easily be in a situation here where he had king 10 small of hearts. And so even with the 10, he discards and finds he can't maybe undo things. I mean, he might play, because the 10 would then be lost. So he doesn't know that we've got queen jack 3. So even if declarer had the king 10 doubleton left here, I think he'll end up probably not making the contract. I hope either the 8 of hearts is a winner, but it will be beaten by a partner's 9, or more likely he's hoping the clubs are going to come in. Okay, so obviously you may get that right anyway, using my philosophy in discarding, which is look after your 4 card suits. But clearly with the queen jack of hearts, I mean, if the 10 of hearts is in dummy, then it becomes really tricky, because you look as though you're being genuinely squeezed. You'd have to feel that declarer's always going to keep his 4th club, so I'd still be tempted to keep my clubs and hope that when I throw the queen of hearts underneath the king, they might even finesse the 10 later. Who knows? So that's really tricky. Let's look at the full hand. So here's the full hand, and what declarer's done is relatively sensibly he's played on spades first. Okay, so he's gone to knock out the ace of spades first. We gave a signal in spades. What was tricky is that because our partner won the first spade with the ace, we couldn't count how many spades he's got. Later on in the hand, when he won the ace of spades, he took his diamonds, and then not unreasonably, he chose at that point to just play a safe exit, a passive spade. He had the 6, the 5 and the 2 of spades left. Now, as I'll keep on telling you, we always like to lead low from an honour or throughout the hand. But of course, once you've seen the ace and queen go and the king and jack are in dummy, that's out of the equation. Usually the second and third rounds of suits are different. The first round of the suit is when you are saying I've got an honour or not. So the two of spades is a really important card here, trying to get across to you his count rather than anything else. So if he had just the 6 and 2 left, we would lead the 6 back. Okay, and then hopefully, as East, we work out that partner's got 3 spades, which places Declarer with 3, and now we're not sure how, exactly how the hand is divided. So you may or may not, because of course Declarer could still be 4-4-3-2, but with the Doubleton heart. But once we know South has a Doubleton spade, we know in inverted commas that South has 4 clubs, and because of that we know that we need to keep our clubs. As I said before, if Declarer did have the jack of clubs here, he's then always got his contract. Okay, so I think that's a really tough hand there, and going through it all, obviously piecemeal, is difficult. I really recommend, if you play as a foursome, particularly live, if you ever play rubber bridge or just fun bridge as it were, those are great opportunities as a foursome to experiment with your defensive techniques. As in, try to, even if it's just for 2 or 3 hands, because it is quite exhausting, but try to really make an attempt to count the hand, as it were, and take your time and think a little bit more deeply about defence. What that means is take a bit more time, probably more time that you can take when you're playing duplicate bridge. But the more you try this, the faster you get. But I'm hoping the more you will find what a wonderful game bridge is. Because although it's really, really hard, when you get one hand right, then it's a lovely feeling. And I'm hoping you then start thirsting for more. Okay. However, I'm sure some of you will not necessarily agree with that. Anyway, let's a quick mention of Croatia there. Kim is going out there, which I do enjoy. I usually do it every so often, and also we've got a fjord cruise later in the year, which is a nice time to go. I think it's in September, is it? Yeah, early September, which can be a very nice time to go there. Okay, what am I thinking now? I am thinking this. So it went 3 no trumps, 4 hearts. So for me, 3 no trumps shows a solid minor. Now that isn't something like ace king to 7 or ace king to 8. It should be ace king queen to 7 at least. Okay, it's more, so for me, I know partner's got ace king queen to 7 clubs. So I just reading a message there from John, which is quite funny, he's quite right. Sometimes, as you see me on Wednesdays, I will counter hand at what I think is very, very accurately. But it does, when it goes wrong, you put all the effort in and get and feel a bit foolish. But I think I love the feeling of actually working it out and getting it right. I don't mind the embarrassment of being wrong, as it were. Okay, so let's have a look. First and foremost here, I think there's 2 things to think about here, and I don't mind which one you choose. I think you are always going to make your 8 tricks here. So if 4 hearts makes, then I would feel that 5 clubs is a good sacrifice. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You're non-vulnerable. It's not unreasonable to expect to make 7 club tricks, and the ace of spades is 8 tricks. Okay, now that's the minimum I should say you'd make. However, I think it's a bit muddied waters here. I probably am going to bid 5 clubs, but you do need to be aware that there will be quite a few times that things that 4 hearts won't make. So, you know, a lot of the time you're going to make 2 clubs and a spade, and the diamonds might make a trick there. And that's the crucial bit here. However, I would also feel that there's going to be times where the clubs break 4-1, maybe they've got 4 small opposite a singleton, you know, and bear in mind our hearts also aren't exactly anything to write about. So if North does indeed have a singleton club, we lead a club. When a club then gets led again, clearly we can't overruff. So that's, I mean, if you give yourself the 10 of hearts here instead of the 4, I think it's reasonable to hope maybe to get 4 hearts down. But I think the important thing is to understand why we're thinking it. So, I mean, let me open up the hands. It turns out on this particular occasion that 5 clubs is going to be the winning action. But I think it's important to understand that first and foremost you expect, I mean, if we bid 5 clubs, let's just do that now. Let's put the 5 club in there. It goes double, and that's at the end of that. Okay, so you finish in 5 clubs double. Yeah, sorry, they changed the suits around there. But it's interesting. So 5 clubs here, as you can see. Let's have a quick look at that. I think you're always going to make 8 tricks at least. And for the most part, the spades break badly. So, you know, they're going to make 2 spades, 2 diamonds, and a heart, which is basically 3 off, which is 500. Does 4 hearts make? Well, it does make here, but I mean, it looks tight, doesn't it? It turns out, I mean, it turns out they've got the high spades, which you sort of expect. The thing is, you don't know they've got a fit. So partner could have had a couple of hearts and a singleton spade. So there's a lot of times I think, you know, I think it's a really close call, and I'm quite happy for you to pass as well, because as I say, there's no reason, you know, you don't know that South has a fit in hearts. If South had, you know, your partner could have had a couple of hearts and a singleton spade, and then you take the first 2 club tricks, a spade to the ace and a spade rough, you know, on another hand. So there's no doubt that 4 hearts could be going down. I think if I didn't have the jack and 10 of diamonds, I would certainly gamble on it. Because again, if the diamonds break 5-3, they could easily have a slow diamond loser here. But on this particular layout, you can see that 5 clubs works. Notice also, I should add, that sometimes you bid 5 clubs and the opponents bid on to 5 hearts. So they're not always going to get it right. So here, South with an ace, a singleton spade and 3-card heart support could easily have bid 5 hearts, if I'm honest. You know, going for the vulnerable game. And so that's where 5 clubs perhaps does work. I'm surprised. I mean, I let Q plus bid the South hand. I'm slightly surprised that he did actually bid double. I think 5 hearts is very close, because obviously it's surely more likely that North has the singleton club than East, given that East has just bid 5 clubs. Does that make sense? And if North had had a singleton club here, well then you'd want to be in 5 hearts, and that's worth 650. So it's quite interesting. So well done, South. Because of course, if South bids 5 hearts goes off. Okay, so suddenly you've turned minus 620 into plus 100. So 5 clubs isn't quite as simple as, oh, is it a good sacrifice or not? It could push them onto 5 hearts. It looks odd to some of you are thinking, why would you bid 5 clubs with a singleton? Well, of course, you are placing your partner with a known club holding. You expect partner to have ace, king, queen, jack to 7. Okay, should really have the jack as well. This is where it goes slightly wrong when you don't, and then the suit breaks 4-1. But as you can see, I think that's a really interesting one, and I hope that exhibits the fact that you're not always going to be right. So even bidding 5 clubs, and I've said that you could bid 5 clubs, that isn't always going to be right. But part of the element of remembering about bidding is that I think the expression is always let your opponents make the last guess, as it were. And I think if you bid 5 clubs in that auction, you're giving South the last guess, and quite a few Souths, I think, would have bid 5 hearts. Okay, I think we are ready to go. So let me give you the bidding quiz here to finish off. 1 spade, 2 no trumps overcall. 1 spade, 2 no trumps, showing both minors. You alerted. The unusual 2 no trumps. It goes pass and it's your bid. 1 spade, 2 no trumps, pass. Okay, and it's your bid. Good luck with that. Remember, you can get that as a member or non-member on the site. Also, don't forget, if you are a non-member, why? Come and join us. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is say thank you for your company. Don't forget, next Monday is a pre-record. The Monday after that is a bank holiday. So if you are just on the Mondays, I'm not sure. I think it may be as many as 4 weeks' time. So I am there next week, of course, with a pre-record, but then there is a bank holiday, and then there is my holiday. So I will not be around many Mondays until I think 10th, 11th, 12th, about the 14th of April, something like that. That sounds like a long time. It's almost a month's time, isn't it? Okay, but hopefully you have a good time. And I will see you soon. Those of you for the teams, we're on Wednesday, Thursday for the Friday Live. I know that sounds odd, but it's Thursday morning for the Friday Live. And then I am away for a little while. So thanks for your company. I am going to go to the beginners. Oh, what's happened there? Why has that gone like that? Ooh, what have I done? Ah, there we go. Okay, I am back. So we are looking at the Novice, and what we've been looking at is third hand. When your partner leads the opening lead, what happens? So we talked about playing the right card. Okay, now, and generally that means playing your highest card. Okay, now we looked at some exceptions, and one particular one of playing the lowest of touching cards. But now what I want to do is take you a little bit further. What do you do afterwards? It's all well and good winning the first trick, but what happens next? Okay, so what happens next? Well, if you win the trick, we'll look at today, and if you win a later trick, we'll also look at. Okay, so let's say this is the opening suit. They lead a club, dummy plays a small one, and you, as I've told you to do, play your highest club. Okay, so you win the ace of clubs. What do you do next? Okay, so that's what we're thinking about. So there was a simple rule that when you get the lead, generally your first thought should be to return the suit that your partner has led. And you will see this over and over. Now, it is not always the right thing to do, but it should be the very top of your list. And if it was correct to lead your partner's suit back and you didn't do it, your partner is not unreasonably going to gently chastise you. Okay, so for example, the hand we've just seen, you win the ace of clubs, you're generally going to lead a club back. And the reason we're doing that is because our partner chose the suit to lead. He's choosing a strong and long suit against a no trump contract, for example. So therefore, we expect him to have good cards in it, so we lead it back. So your first thought when you gain the lead is to return your partner's suit. So that's either on the opening lead or later in the hand as well, as we'll see. Okay, so there are many things to think about that can affect your play. And when we do more advanced defensive play, we see these things come up all the time. But that is when we go much, much deeper in defense. Defense is by far the most difficult aspect of bridge. It is, in fact, the most wonderful aspect of bridge. It is what makes bridge different to all other games. Having the dummy, that one hand exposed, makes a huge difference, but it's really difficult for the mind to take it all in. But we love having some basic rules for us to fall back on. Okay, and one of those basic rules is that remember the suit your partner led, because most of the time you should be thinking of leading that suit back. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's put that suit that we've just seen into context. So I've given you a dummy there. You are sitting in the east seat, if that's all right. South had the most points, so he's declared, and he's chosen to declare 3 no trumps. So that usually means he hasn't got a big fit in a suit. He's choosing no trumps because he's got a spread of high cards, and he's probably got 25 or more points between their 2 hands. So again, we're not seeing an auction here. Generally, I'm suggesting we're playing mini bridge and we're thinking about how we might defend. So a club is led. You played the ace. So you've won that first trick. What do you do next? Of course, as a beginner, there's a temptation. Well, why don't I take the ace of hearts? That's not what we should be doing. Here, we're in no trumps. Our partner has chosen a club. Why? He's chosen a club because it's his best suit. Longest and strongest is the expression we use. So therefore, we trust him and lead a club back, hoping to develop tricks in the suit. So we lead a club back. I don't mind which one. The 7 is the correct card, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. South tries the queen, but your partner kills that queen with his king. He then takes the jack, which is even better. Who do you think has the last club? That's 3 rounds of 4 clubs. 3 times 4 is 12, so 12 clubs have gone. Who do you think's got the last club? Well, of course, your partner chose to lead clubs. So I don't think it's that much of a surprise that he has the last club. Okay, so when we choose our opening lead against a no trump contract, we are generally choosing our longest and strongest suit. So as the partner of that player, you generally lead it back to help your partner. So here you can see the hand. Your partner led a club, you win the ace of clubs, and you chose to return the suit. And that allowed your partner to make the king over the queen, and then the jack as well, and the 9. So we made 4 club tricks off the top, and eventually we will make the ace of hearts as well. Okay, and that will take the contract down, because remember, to defeat 3 no trumps you need 5 tricks. We would make 4 club tricks and the ace of hearts. So that's very simple in many ways, but it's so important. Having certain basic rules are really important when you start playing bridge. Okay, the defense is so difficult. I can tell you maybe 150,000 hands where it's not correct to lead your partner's suit back, but probably 500,000 where it is. So it's not always going to be the right thing to do, but most of the time it is. So without thinking deeply and finding other things to do, your fallback should be leading back your partner's suit. Next week we'll see how it changes if it's later in the hand. It's all well and good winning the ace of clubs at trick 1. That was an easy decision. What about when it's later in the hand? And we'll have a look at that next week. So I hope you enjoyed that, and see you again soon.